this is Gino Green from College Sports Overload. Here's my recap of Big Ten Media Days in McCormick Place. Enjoy.
All right, Bruce Feldman from Fox Sports 1 and now Sports Illustrated. Deepest schedule of the season for Fox. Now that the Big Ten has acquired the rights to the conference, there's one game in mind that stands out in the schedule more than the others. It's Ohio State, Michigan. How big is that going to be for the network?
Oh my God, it's huge. I'm trying to remember, we were at a dinner with a bunch of us who worked at Fox and FS1. This is before the deal was announced, and everybody was kind of talking about how, hey, we're going to, we could get this game. And it was like, I remember I was sitting across from Joel Klatt, there was about 8 of us or 10 of us, and somebody was like, yeah, you could be calling the Michigan-Ohio State game and how big that is. I mean, we all grew up watching that game, probably more than any other. For me, that was the biggest game. I grew up in the Northeast, where there was no real college football. There was Boston College and maybe Syracuse, but when it came to it, Michigan, Ohio State were basically on along with Notre Dame all the time. It wasn't in an era when you'd have 60 games on a weekend of pretty much you could see every game. So just to have that game and have where Penn State is now as that program come back, obviously with what Harbaugh and Urban have done, the profile of the conference has just skyrocketed in just the last couple of years. But that is the flagship game, right now college football, because you look, both those teams coming off what they've done, they're top 10 caliber teams. You can talk about the Auburn-Alabama rivalry. Alabama's great, but Auburn has struggled the last couple of years. I wouldn't put it on that level. That is a more regional game, where the Michigan-Ohio State game really is just a national brand.
And also with the expanded schedule this season, you mentioned in the podcast, The Audible, back a couple months ago, I think, you got elevated to the second broadcast team. So you're going to be working with Joe Davis and Brady Quinn this year. How big is that to be able to get into another spot, potentially doing one of the conference championships?
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Last year the crew I worked on, I worked with Joe and Brady for 4 games last year, but I worked mostly with Tim Brandon and Spencer Tillman. We had the Bedlam game, which was a big game beside the Big 12, but just the level of games at Fox and FS1 are going to be so much better this year. With all the Big Ten, so I think that is a help. But then to jump up with those guys, and it's really exciting for me just because Brady and I get along great. We kind of hit it off right away. And Joe is such a rising star in the business, and I live in LA. And he's the guy who's followed Vin Scully on Dodgers. That's a pretty awesome responsibility and opportunity for him. And so I know I'm with guys who are really rising stars in the broadcast business. So that part is great. We got a great producer who had been at ESPN for a long time, Bo Garrett. And so I can't wait for this season. I think we have a double Thursday-Saturday opener for us. So our crew has 2 games, and then we're rolling. It's gonna be a fun season. I really can't wait. I know it's still a month plus away, but just this is a great time of year, and for me as a person who's covered a ton of games, mostly in the press box till the last couple of years, it's just been so energizing to go out, and I get so fired up about being at games. Where I'm on the field 2 hours before kickoff, and just it's an adrenaline rush the whole way.
Yeah, going from TV to the other side of things with writing, obviously Fox Sports had their cuts back in the summer. You and Stuart Mandel had that podcast called The Audible. Now with Stuart Mandel going to The Athletic, I know it's competing brands technically, but any hope of that being revived now that he's been employed?
I hope so. We talk a lot, and we've gotten, it's been really humbling and great to see all the feedback we've gotten on it. And, we really, I love doing it. I know he did too. The other day when Hugh Freeze gets forced out, in the wake of that scandal, we both, and a lot of people even said this to us, is like, don't you wish you had the podcast to kind of talk about it? Just because it's different than writing. You can have different layers to it in a conversation. And I think one of the reasons why I feel like our podcast resonates is because I think we were both pretty honest about, covering the sport. And sometimes, nothing's black and white. And you miss that format and that forum the way it was. So, we've had a lot of opportunity and a lot of interest, and I don't say I'm confident. I'm hopeful, optimistic that we're going to have something in some way, shape, and form of a podcast before the start of the season. I don't know exactly what that is because I knew he just released his news yesterday as we're taping this. And so, that was important for him to get that going and get momentum on that. And he's still got some more hires to make. So I know he's got a lot of stuff up in the air. And so hopefully we can kind of get that stuff sorted out sooner than later, because I know now that's a priority for him, and it's certainly a priority for me too.
All right, Bruce, thanks for taking the time out of your schedule, and good luck this season doing games on Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1.
My pleasure. Thanks for talking.
I'll have a statement.
Jim, have you had any fun while you are back in Chicago? Did you get to do anything non-football related?
No, I'm avoiding all fun stuff. Concentrating on preparing ourselves for the season. Avoiding all fun things.
You're going to Dick.
Well, we lost 3 of our last 4 games last year, so 2 by 1 point, and 1 by 3 points in overtime. So, didn't like that feeling, and it's motivated us to pour more time into the football team and our jobs, and give more effort, and pour more of our heart and soul into it. Avoid fun stuff. More of our talent, more of our effort, more of our heart into coaching these guys, and the guys that are playing need to do the same thing.
Talked about Peters. What about
Talk about what?
talked about Peters earlier? What about Wilton? His first 8 to 15
Yeah,
practice.
Wilton's in a great spot. Like I said, Wilton's in a great spot. Wilton's tied for first in the quarterback competition. So is John O'Corn, and so is Brandon. So they're all in a really good position, and they're going to have that.
What's the biggest thing in warning about having to start over after last year? What's the difference between starting over after what you did last year and what you had when you first came in?
Well, I think we obviously have a little bit different challenges. I mean, last year we're still trying to kind of lay the foundation and build confidence and set the standards and the expectations. We're still doing all those things. And when you have some success, it kind of cements those things. They become kind of ingrained in who you are and who your organization is and things like that. And everybody buys in, which I think is the biggest difference, for last year. So for us now, it's the opposite. It's let's not be too confident. Let's not be cocky. Let's not take things for granted and be complacent. So I think that confidence is a good thing, but it's a fine line. You don't want it to go in the wrong direction where we kind of lose our identity, which is a blue-collar, hard-nosed, attention to detail program. So that's what you want to do. You want to balance the two things. You want to balance the experience they gain. You want to balance the confidence that they gain. And then you want to make sure that you stay true to who you are and the things you believe.
That has to be in your vernacular now. And how have you guys accepted that?
It's definitely a part of the culture. And you don't really have a choice. When you're around it, you're hearing it all the time. It becomes who you are. And you can lean on those things to help get you through tough situations. And people think it's corny, but I actually like it. I think it's helped me out a lot individually, and I've seen the growth within our team and how it impacts other people as well.
How much do you guys talk about? Incredible. On our side, I don't focus on what other people say about us or me. I teach our coaches. We have to worry about us. We have to focus on us. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. We can't be worried about what everybody else says about us. We have a certain way of doing things. We've done things a certain way for a very long time, and I usually never comment and haven't commented on rumors, speculation, especially things that aren't true. So,
does stuff like that maybe ratchet up the rivalry, if not for you guys, then for the fans on both sides?
I think that stuff's probably more for the fans, and that's what it's for, and that's why something was probably pulled out and turned a certain way or blown up the way it was for the fans. I mean, because those are things that are very insignificant when you're starting to talk about the recruiting world, the football world, and we don't focus on those things.
Hey Jim, what is your philosophy then when it comes to offering recruits? Because you've got, I think, 200 offers out there. I mean, are all of them?
We evaluate a lot. Yeah. As long as we have a spot open, and you know the time frame, and we're talking to you and keeping open communication. Hey, we have 2 spots left. Hey, we have 1 spot left. Hey, we're full. Every team can get full. but we have a ton of evaluations. We work incredibly hard in recruiting. We did at Western Michigan. That's the bloodline of your program. That's your lifeline, is to recruit. So that is one of the number one things we do in our program. We recruit high school student athletes and we recruit our players every single day to get them to believe and see that Minnesota is one of the best places in the country. And it is a top football culture and program. And those are the challenges we have ahead of us. And if I worried about how everybody else thought we did things or what they didn't agree that we did things, then I wouldn't get anything done. I probably wouldn't get anything done.
Talking about those receivers, I was thinking about Stanley, and just how good you think he can be. And from what you said this morning, it sounds like you were impressed with, I guess, how he handled himself after the bad headline.
Yeah, I have been impressed with Antonio and Stanley in that regard. I have faith in the fact that is going to be a better situation than it has been in their life. I think there was a major move within our whole department and school to make that situation have a chance to be better. All that part of it I'm really proud of. Now they have to make it real for a long period of time and do the right thing. I'm excited. I really, really like Stanley Morgan as a player because I think that he brings a physical, mental toughness that is going to be very special to this team. Stanley likes to play. Stan has a great loyalty, actually, despite what everybody knows about him publicly in that negative regard. He brings another part to the team where, he can put them on their backs, and he'll be a good loyal player for our team.
Do you sense and feel a different shift in the locker room at all in terms of just leaders, in terms of vocalness or anything?
I mean, you're always going to go through a time when people leave and the locker room might change a little bit because there's so many people that left. And, but we still have that great team bond. We still make jokes, still have fun together. And, it's not a big change that I think we went through, but it's a little different than that.
Did you expect change?
For us, summer workouts have gone very well. I think that we've had great attendance. It's been a very methodical plan where I think we've improved and got better. A lot of the new guys that have arrived on campus, it's important to get them in the mix. I think they've gotten accustomed and acquainted to how we do things. They've gotten their feet wet to a certain degree, and a little bit I've seen, I think that they'll help our team without question. Whether they start or play a ton, whether they are just add competition, they're going to do one of the two.
Where did you get better?
Well, I think our receiver position had to get better, so we definitely will be better at that point or at that position, just because of 3 new additions and then a couple freshmen that at least one of them have definitely stood out as a guy that may be in the mix. I think we needed some help on the offensive line. The 2 graduate transfers we took, Dave Steinmetz, Shane Evans, will at least provide competition, but they could easily be on the field a lot, and they've played, they have a lot of experience, so they've played quite a bit of football, so that's definitely been beneficial. Matt McCann is back from injury. Some of our other guys on defense that were out for the spring are back from injury, so as of right now, other than 1 or 2 guys, a lot of guys are healthy and ready to go.
First of all, the honor part of it, even being nominated by my own media staff was something that was important to me. It was a big deal for me and my family to represent Purdue well, to represent my family name well, and then just having such great people around me to help set up the speech and help me proofread it and do different things. It was an incredible experience. What a blessing.
For the people who maybe didn't see it, what did you want people to take away from what you said?
Just that football really does teach life. The young men here who get to experience it can experience and can learn from the game of football, different life lessons, different things that we're given. But it also can be something that other people can learn from as well. And that's what our responsibility is as college football players, is to be that example. So that's really the message, and that how important diversity is for us as players, and then really for our world.
It's been the